Today we will be discussing a very important topic, and that is World Trade Organization. So please pay full attention to it. It requires your full energy and attention into it. The certain aspects you need to know about World Trade Organizations are like World Trade Organization was formed on 1st January 1995. Its headquarters are in Geneva, Switzerland, and participating countries are 164. Afghanistan is a recent member to join in 2016. It was formed under the Uruguay Round of GATT under the Marrakesh Agreement at Morocco. Regime was signed on April 15, 1994. You need to know this. We will discussing later what was the Uruguay Round of GATT and what was GATT and how it happened. Now we are going to the history how the World Trade Organization was made, why there was the need of making a World Trade Organization, why the systems at that time were not working, what were their faults. Now we'll be discussing in detail. Great economic depression started in 1930 in the USA. It was because USA Trade Center was facing a lot of problems. Its economy was going through a very bad time. They were facing a very hard time. So it started from USA on September 4, 1929 and resulted in worldwide stock market October 29th, 1929. So it is known as the Black Tuesday in history. Black Tuesday in history marked this date, 29 October 1929. The USA is known as a super economy from the start, and since the start, it's been affecting all over the world. Since trade is a matter between countries, and the USA does used to do with the trade with a lot of other countries. That means a crash in USA market means a crash in many other different neighboring countries that are being directly affected with the USA market crash. So this led to the tariff war. So tariff war started due to this. A tariff, what is tariff? Tariff is a very general and key concept. You need to know about it. And for knowing that, you should go and watch my previous video on tariff. So tariff war started, and it started because of USA imposition or implementation of Smooth Hallway Tariff Act of 1930. Simply meant that things or expenditure or goods or merchandise goods that were going to import in the USA, they have to pay very high amount. So that's why world trade and import declined by 40 to 60%, because at that time there was a worldwide market stock crash. So nobody was agree or able to pay that high price. So that's why world trade and import declined by 40 to 60%. And what happened was the other developed countries at that time like Netherlands, Germany, they also imposed increased tariff. So the world GDP declined by 27%. And to know how much is this, you just recall that 2008 economic recession, the world GDP declined by 6.7%, and the whole world was worried that they are going to end. And now at that time back in 1930, world GDP declined by 27%. 10,000 banks were closed, and that's the most major and economic factor of World War II. It led to the World War II. It is the basic factor. Tariff war, the economic depression of 1930, worldwide stock market crash, all these are factors that led to World War II. One other very main and important event was Bretton Woods Conference. So who proposed Bretton Woods Conference? John Maynard Keynes of British Treasury and Harry Dexter White of Treasury Department independently began to think about the financial orders of the post-World War. So it led to the Bretton Woods Conference. 730 delegates participated from 44 different countries. And Bretton Woods Conference, also known as UN Monetary and Financial Conference, as I told you, it was for the financial orders of the post-World War. And it happened in the New Hampshire, USA, 1st July to 22 July 1944. The Bretton Woods Conference leads to development of IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which later became World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and discussions related to the regulation of World Trade Organization. But ITO was not as effective as it was meant to be, or as it was decided. So there are some reasons why ITO fails. But in 1948 in Havana, there was a conference on trade and development, and the Havana Charter was proposed, which was basically a GATT charter. GATT means General Agreements on Tariff and Trade. Since the start of 1930, tariff was a major basic problem. It led to numerous unsolvable problems. That's why Havana Charter was basically a GATT charter, which was proposed that how tariffs and trade is meant to be, or how it should be, or what changes needed to be done. So what happened next? 56 nation signs were needed to make it effective, but only 53 did. And surprisingly, it was not only the only problem that 3 nations were remaining. The main thing was USA did not sign. USA did not agree to the idea. And at that time, those nations who have already signed, they get worried that the USA was a super economy. If USA is not accepting this, then why should we? And what we have done. So it came to notice a very important mistake that I made, that Havana Conference was in 1946 instead of 1948. So please remember this. Conference was in 1946, and that led to another conference, Geneva Conference, in 1947, and that led to signing of GATT General Agreements on Trade and Tariff that was signed by 23 countries on October 30, 1947, and it came into effect on 1st January 1948. So this it's very important to note that it was signed by 23 countries on October 30, 1947, and GATT stands for General Agreements on Trade and Tariff. As I told you earlier, that WTO was formed in the Uruguay round of GATT. So what's the basically difference between GATT and WTO? Now we know that basic abbreviations, that GATT stands for General Agreements on Trade and Tariff, and WTO stands for World Trade Organization. Basically, GATT was a provisional institution, whereas WTO is a permanent institution. WTO is a more powerful, GATT was less powerful. And GATT used to deal only in merchandise goods, whereas WTO deal in not only merchandise goods, in every kind of trade, or trade, export, import. It is applicable to everything regarding trade. Nations that were the members of GATT were not called as members, they were called as participating countries. It's because GATT was a contract, it was provisional, it was not permanent. That's why those nations who participated in the GATT, they were called as participating countries, whereas WTO members are called members. So now moving towards the structure of WTO. There are 4 main structures. Ministerial conference that happened once in 2 years. General Council consists of permanent secretaries, and then there is Trade Policy Review Body. It's a very important that now and then often reviews the trade policies, and the dispute settlement bodies that is held, that is made to settle a dispute between neighboring countries, between trading countries, participating countries. And the general principles of World Trade Organizations are non-discrimination, fair competition, transparency, free trade, predictability, encourage development, economic reforms. These are the main general principles of WTO, and why there was need it to be, because we need a very non-discriminative, fair competition system. So talking about the rules of WTO, the most basic rule is commitment to openers, meaning reducing tariffs as well as limiting quotas, important bans, distorting subsidies, and other barriers to trade. Committed to greater flexibility to less developed countries and help them adjust to new rules. And that's all. Thank you so much.